out. Gillum Jones is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson? Cracks all the way back in. It does. And he's locked in, but what a goal!
Inundated. So popular.
Years in business. Pride's Easy Feed continues to stand as a proud Australian family equine dedicated feed company. Based on the Liverpool Plains, Pride's is the only facility of its type producing extruded cubes, extruded sweet feeds and pellets on 3 separate production lines. We would like to wish our Pride-sponsored riders the best of luck for the event ahead. And be sure to pop over to the Pride's Marquee to see our range of feeds and ask any questions that you might have with getting the right diet for your horse.
Not at the moment.
Often do you see no action?
Yeah.
Of course it's now, it's 12:30, it's lunchtime.
Exactly.
Pride's CCI 2-star short course, cross-country course today with 2 riders out on course. We have Jasmine Dillon safely up to fence number 4. So we have Jasmine Dillon and Vincenzo safely over fence number 6 at the Yarra Valley Hay, making their way down towards the Horseland Lake. Meanwhile, we have Kate Bromley and Vanguard out on course. She's safely over the first 4 fences and through the AEA Equestrian Farming Products Stockman's Hut. So we currently have 3 horses out on course, and it looks like we can see Kate Bromley aboard Vanguard. Kate's currently sitting in a 4th position on a score of 35.1 after a clear show jumping round. As she makes her way out towards the ditch brush in the back paddock. Oh, and just a call out to Jasmine Beasley, rider 193, riding Azure. You've won the best dressed on cross country, sponsored by Catalina Equestrian. So if you'd like to come to the office to collect your generous prizes this weekend. So just splashing through the lake at fence number 9. We have Carrie Jones and the Real Slim Shady. Meanwhile, coming into view, Katie Slocum aboard Archery Miss. Just jumped really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon and brushes. So we have a number of horses out on course. And we can see the lovely grey, the Real Slim Shady with Carrie Jones aboard, splashing through the Horseland Lake. Nice big leap over the B element. Meanwhile, unfortunately for Kate Bromley and Vanguard, they have actually picked up 2 refusals at fence number 11. The angled houses. So starting out on their course, we have Asher Warnock aboard Alabama Calligraphy. Ash has done a really nice leap over the 2nd fence. And she's currently sitting in 8th position on a score of 36.6. While Chloe Zhong and Cooper Boy a little bit deeper into the Horseland Lake Element B, but no problems for them so far around this course. Generously sponsored by Prides. So making their start out on course, we have Manon Shea and RLE Cavalier Vivendi. She's safely over the first 3 fences. Manon's currently sitting in 2nd position on a total of 34, so this will be a combination to watch after an excellent dressage and a clear show jumping round. Meanwhile, we've got Asher Warnock. We had a little bit of a look at the lake there, but a little bit of encouragement, and Asher's on her way.
And Becky, it's Chris Smith here, and we're picking up the commentary as we see Katie riding Archery Miss just come past the commentary position. Looks to have had a really good round in this latter part of the course. But very quickly behind them now is Carrie Jones riding the Real Slim Shady. She's going really quick on this beautiful grey horse, not wasting any time, clearly trying to make the time, and I think she might be even on a 3-star time at the speed she's gone past us. Beautifully over fence 17, and just the one more for her to go before she's safely home.
Yeah, we can see Manon Shea splashing through the Horseland Lake. Lovely big dark horse there, knees right up under his chin. Really nice jumping horse. She seems to be having a great ride around this course so far. Just coming into view now is Chloe Chong.
beautifully through the treble here. Absolutely spot on with her accuracy, lovely and straight. Got time to adjust her hat, very relaxed, having a great ride, coming up to fence 17. Just walking in front of us now is Kate Bromley, unfortunately riding Vanguard, having to have a walk home. She's still got a smile on her face though, so they'll come back another day and make sure they get that right next time. This horse is looking very happy, even though he's on his way home. So beautiful course here today. The weather is absolutely perfect. We've got lots of starters on course, so everyone keeping their eye out for what's going on. A couple of horses now coming down to the lake so far, which has been jumping really well. And as we just establish our commentary, so far it's going pretty well. We've got really good sights, good visual sight on some of these riders as they come galloping down the fence in front of us, down the hill in front of us from the quarry with a lot of pace on. And just having a little discussion over who's in control here and who's controlling the line. That's Asher Warnock. She's really having to work hard to make sure this horse holds its spot. He was really keen to take a stride out of that first one down the hill there, but they're through there in that combination. Just a couple of fences for them to go back. We're around about a third of the way through this Pride's CCI 2-star. This is the short format today. So far the course is riding really well. It's beautiful conditions for cross country. We're lucky enough we didn't get any rain that really changed the conditions. So some of these horses have got a lot of pace on as they come to the... Just watching a combination coming out. Again, beautiful line there. This treble could be really tough for some of these more green horses, but Manon Shea, with all her experience, had no problem through there. And this horse, really high striding, really pushing hard and covering a lot of ground. So showing them how it's done.
So we might be interested to know Asher Warnock and Alhambra Calligraphy. She had no jump penalties, but did pick up 5.2 time penalties. So the time is always quite difficult to achieve here at Wandin. And so it'd be interesting to note how the other riders go. So we have Natalie Davies and Equine Affair Eclipse, rider number 62. She's safely over the first 11 fences and making her way out the back up towards the logger brush and the quarry.
And just in front of us was Alice Embry. Alice, just beautiful ride through the treble there. Really making this look easy. So we'll just see now as we quickly look to Nat Davies. Very experienced jockey, been around this course so many times and done that in regulation as well. Nice and tight. Nat always knows about the time, and she's really put her head down and pushing on to the finish.
And we have a couple of new starters out on course, Amber McTaggart and Dash of Elegance. Amber's currently sitting on a score of 35.6 and in 6th position. So another combination we want to keep an eye on, Chris. And meanwhile we can see Sam Jeffries and Equus Hellenic. I'm guessing he's riding out of order. Oh no, 69. And he's also another rider that's been around this course a number of times. While just commencing their round, we can see Katrina Wallace and Harold Esquire. She's safely over the first 3 fences.
Meanwhile, Laura Hercules riding Friday Street beautifully through the combination, just in front of the commentary position. Those 3 fences still riding well. She's now over the second to last fence and heading for home. Meanwhile, in front of us through the lake, oh, what a really uncomfortable moment at the big ditch and rail down the back of the course there. Becky, you might be able to help me with who that combination is, but that horse really threw out the anchors, but some great riding and really sticky in the saddle there. Kept them there, kept the momentum going and popped over, but that was very close to a stop.
Yeah, I think that was Amber McTaggart aboard Dash of Elegance that had a little extra look there. Meanwhile, we have Chelsea Priestley, rider number 72 aboard Southern Sandro Stern, currently sitting in 17th position, and she's safely over the first 3 fences.
And we're seeing a bit of excitement now, Becky, with this grey horse coming through the lake now, has managed to add as well, and another quite awkward moment. Where their heart would have been in their mouth for a second, but they're through that combination now, through the lake. Comes up quite quickly for these horses, even though it's a basic fence, just a simple log, but it certainly came up quick. But they're very quickly now got themselves back in the saddle, organised, and continue with the rest of the course. Meanwhile, Sam, who we've seen going around this course so many times over the last decade or so, he's beautifully coming up to the end of the course. Sees a lovely spot from about 10 strides out, and he's almost at the finish.
Here we now have rider 73, Charlie King, aboard Country Star. Charlie's currently in 3rd position on a score of 34.4, so another combination we want to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, we can see Chelsea Priestley splashing through the Horseland Lake really nicely, nice bold, lovely athletic horse.
Indeed, Becky, that's Chelsea's having to use all her strength to keep this horse focused. You saw a long spot from a few strides out there and really flew at that ditch and log. She's going really well at the moment, as we'd expect for Chelsea.
Yeah, and just commencing their round here in the Pride's CCI 2-star short course, we have Yana Andreo and High Valley. Yana's currently sitting on a score of 41.8 and in 16th position. And just coming into view here at the Pride's Wagon, we've got Kate Wallace aboard Harold Esquire, and just really, really nicely through what can be a quite difficult combination, but they seem to be making light work of it today. Meanwhile, starting out on their round today, we have Simon Tanish aboard Finesse, rider number 76. Simon's currently in 15th position on a score of 41.5. There is actually a loose horse on course, so if you can just be mindful of a loose horse currently on course. So I have a score for Manon Shea and RLE Cavalier Vivendi. No jump penalties for that combination, picking up 3.6 time vaults. And unfortunately for Chelsea Priestley, she did unfortunately pick up a refusal at the B element in front of the commentary box here at the apex. So an unfortunate 20 for Chelsea. Meanwhile, we have another starter out on course, this time rider 77, Emily Anker, aboard Cannondale Mr. K. Emily's clear over the first 3 fences and currently sitting in 20th position on a score of 33.1. Meanwhile, we
and
can...
Becky, Simon.
Yeah.
Simon Tash just got through the lake there, showing some experience, really making sure he got onto that long spot. Increased the level of difficulty by deciding to jump the jump in the lake, the pier, without a stirrup, but had no trouble at all. Sat tight, didn't move a muscle.
We have another starter out on course, rider 79, Darcy Vinicombe, aboard Set in Stone. Darcy's currently on a score of 53.8 and sitting in 26th position. Meanwhile, down at the Horseland Lake, we can see Emily Anker aboard Cannondale Mr. K.
Yeah, just coming to the pier now, Becky. Goes your sister. Beautifully over that. Textbook and continuing on now to fence 10 for her. Obviously very experienced here, knows the place very well. Just coming into that now, really making sure she's got this horse listening to her, and popped over that beautifully, really bold.
Yeah, we've just seen Yana Andreo and High Valley jumping really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon and brushes. Meanwhile, we have another starter out on course, Bronte Bravo and Altona. Bronte's rider 81 and currently sitting in 11th position on a score of 39.3.
As you see Altona at the start of the course, right down here with a lovely jump is Darcy, riding Set in Stone beautifully over the lake. Lovely jump over the lake fence. Really kind, this horse is really looking keen. Does just chip in, a little tiny chip there, coming into that big log with the ditch in front of it. But no problems, and continue on the back of the course for Stacey.
Yeah, we've just seen Simon Tanish aboard Vanessa really, really nicely through that Pride's Easy Feed wagons. Lovely grey horse, and he also seems to be wasting no time as he makes his way to the last few fences. Meanwhile, we have Bryony Decker, Fraud, and Ballyhow on ice. Bryony's riding with number 82 on her back this weekend and currently sitting in 24th position on 46.1.
And through the lake is Bronte Bravo, riding Altona. Efficient is how we'd describe that, Beck. Really beautifully through. Didn't waste any time at all. Horse is keen and going like a little pocket rocket. So that'll be really fun on a perfect day.
And we have another starter out on course this time. It's rider 83, Lisa North, aboard Magical Mystical Merlin. Lisa's currently in 9th position on 37.9. And they're safely over the first 3 fences.
The next combination we're expecting at the lake is Bryony, Deka Frad, and I'm assuming they're running in order, but that's a big assumption. Taking a slightly longer route, going around one of the 3-star boat, and does that pier crossing on a massive angle. She obviously knows this horse really, really well, because that was a very brave line, and it's jumped it beautifully. So clearly she knows what she's doing and knows her horse really well, because she has done that what is a tough fence on a massive angle. Good riding from her.
So another starter out on course, Benjamin Tyson aboard Narrawarra Park, Spot the Fox. Ben's rider 84, and he's currently sitting in 22nd position on a score of 43.3. And Ben safely...
He's got through the Stockman's Hut, no trouble at all, Beck. Quite keen, so made it a little bit deep. And meanwhile, just in front of him is Lisa North riding Magical Mystical Merlin. They're approaching the lake now. We're interesting to see what line this combination takes after watching the previous. It takes such a tight line. It required some encouragement to get in the water there. Now in trot, just sorting himself out. Making a really wide, kind line here. So a very different way of riding this same obstacle. Pushing hard. Beautiful big jump. Lovely big. So they'll be really pleased with that. She's through that lake combination, but right on their heels already is Ben Tyson. I think they're approaching the lake as well now. Pushing hard. This horse has got really high stride in the water. Saw a spot from a long way out, not wasting time, and off they are going as well. So two combinations, not very far behind one another. I suspect Ben might catch up to Lisa pretty soon.
Yeah, it looks like that Lisa did actually pick up a penalty at the AEA Equestrian Farming Products Stockman's Hut. So the first bit of trouble at that combination fence today. Meanwhile, we have Sydney Wren and Stage Fright, rider number 86 out on course. Sydney's currently in 18th position on a score of 42.6, and it looks like they're safely through the Stockman's Hut. Meanwhile, Bryony, Decker Fraud and Ballyhow on ice just made light work of the Pride's Easy Feed Wagon and Brushes, and they're wasting no time as they gallop for the last three fences in this Pride's CCI 2-star short course today.
And Becky, we're just seeing rider number 86 beautifully through the lake, not with a lot of speed, going very calmly. I'm not actually sure who that is because according to me, there is no 86. So Beck, you might have to update me up there in the central control as to who that is. But they're having a lovely ride, a lovely Sunday afternoon canter across the country. Certainly look like they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, Chris, that's Sydney Wren aboard Stage Fright, rider number 86. So, two horses in view in front of the commentary box here. We have Lisa North aboard Magical Mystical Merlin with Ben Tyson aboard Narrawarra Park, Spot the Fox, hot on her heels. So, Ben will be trying to catch up to her and overtake her, I would be assuming, before these last few fences. Meanwhile, I think there's been some trouble down at the lake there, Chris.
Yeah, that's right, Becca. Sarah Jane Vaughan. I think she may have actually had some trouble at the Stockman's Hut too. This horse electing to have a little look, and Sarah Jane just saying, had a second stop here, we've jumped into the water, into the lake, and she's actually electing to retire, come back on another day after picking up a couple of refusals there. So she's going to take Alibi home and come back for another day.
And that is disappointing. Now, Sarah Jane Vaughan was actually the first competitor of the Section 5 Pride CCI 2-star section. So there are two sections here today. So we have got Manenshay and Northern Farrington out there safely through the Stockman's Hut at fence number 4.
Yeah, very quickly beyond the Stockman's Hut and now already up to the lake. Horse, he really put his head down and had a look at the lake just to make sure it was all okay. And for a moment, they were a bit uncomfortable. They had a bit of an ugly spot, Manon Shea riding Northern Farrington at the pier, and he's managed to actually land on top and bank it a little bit. He's done that well, he's done it safely, and he's continuing on just fine. But it certainly wouldn't have been the plan that Manon had in the first place. Meanwhile, we've got the familiar colours of Sam Jeffrey into the lake as well. This is a beautiful big jumping horse. I watched him go through the Stockman's Hut. He got a little bit deep, and Sam would have had his heart in his mouth for a second, but he's managed to sort that all up now, and he's beautifully through the lake and now over the ditch log in a similar fashion as well.
Yeah, and Sam will be a combination to watch, Chris. He's currently sitting in 4th position. So meanwhile, we've got Sheridan Wilson aboard Pantega Lodge Mercury safely over the first 2 fences and commencing their cross-country in this Pride CCI 2-star class. She's currently in 5th position on a score of 35.5. So the time can be quite influential here, although it is well and truly achievable. So I'm sure Sheridan will be hoping to waste no time as she canters around the cross-country here.
Now, next combination coming to the lake. I think it's Hannah Bird. Just wait for her number to come into sight. She had a massive flyer at the fence before, which looked beautiful. It was a big cross-country spot, and she really felt good doing that. They're just coming to the pier crossing now, and they've again another one of these riders that elect to take that on a very tough angle, but no problems. Done it on that tough angle, but shows that they know their horse very well, or they're super brave, one or the other. But clearly in this case, she knows her horse well, because this horse is really keen.
Yeah, Chris, I believe that's Rochelle Adams aboard Mr. Apostrophe, rider number 93, that we can see heading out the back.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Beck. He's over that ditch and log now, heading up to the fence line. It's combination fence.
Yeah, meanwhile, we can see Sheridan Wilson and Pantega Lodge Mercury. Lovely big grey horse. Did a nice neat jump through the Horseland Lake and making their way towards the ditch and log, which spectators may not know. It's a nice, easy looking log, but if you do walk up to it, there is a dirty, great big ditch underneath. So some of the horses don't see that till right at the last minute. Meanwhile, we've got Sam Jeffries and Wimborne Conjurer really nicely through the Pride's wagons and brushes, hot on the heels of Manon Shea and Northern Farrington, who seems to have jumped clear up to this point, but just taking it a little slower today. While we have Leah Rodwell, rider 102, and Al Mansell safely over the first 3 fences.
Yeah, and very nice through the Stockman's Hut as well. Rebecca, as they head out to that big bank complex. They'll be the next ones we see down at the lake here. If you want to come down, this is a fantastic vantage point to watch from. You can see lots of fences, lots of jumps from the Horseland Lake. Leah's doing really well, not wasting any time. Another one of our experienced riders, been around this course and been around the scene for a very long time. So she's coming down, just a lovely big oxer for her before they approach their next real question, which is this Horseland Lake.
So just coming into view, I believe that's Rochelle Adams and Mr. Apostrophe. Horse still looks to be really keen. A little bit of an awkward jump over the sea element, but no troubles for that combination as they head for home with just 3 more efforts to go in the Pride's CCI 2-star class.
Yeah, meanwhile, Leah's gone really well through the Horseland Lake. She got over that Pride's feeder as well as she comes now to the ditch and log. Sees a spot, beautiful spot, nice and forward. Horse didn't even see that ditch that you were just talking about, Rebecca. He wouldn't even know it was there. He had his head up and he's focused on the job in front of him.
Yeah, and just coming back into view, local rider Sheridan Wilson aboard Pantega Lodge Mercury. Lovely, great big grey horse. Makes light work of the big table and the apex and just beautifully through the narrow brush as a C element. So they seem to be having a good run today around this course. Meanwhile, we have Helen Dionco and Lola Way, rider number 99. They're currently sitting in 15th position on a score of 44.7, and they're safely through the Stockman's Hut, Chris.
Yeah, they are, Becky. And Helen doing really well on Lola Way. Looks like a really confident ride so far, which is what you want from those first few fences. Stockman's Hut's a question on course, first combination, but for this two-star class, it's really obvious what they need to do. So even though the fences are big and the logs are big and they're on the angle and they're related, the way the course has been designed makes it really encouraging. And the same with the next couple of fences on course. But there's probably this real question that comes up here at the lake, which is where we're seeing variations on a theme. Helen did have a massive long spot there at the Pride's feeder, as she approaches now, coming up to the lake, just sitting carefully, beautiful canter. Horse is now going to see the water, but did not even hesitate, which is what, given the question, it was going to have a look at the water. She's got a beautiful line, taking a nice wide line this time. We haven't seen many riders. Plenty of verbal encouragement for Lola Way, but perfectly over the Horseland Lake, and they continue now out to the back course.
Yeah, and just while we are enjoying the wonderful cross-country viewing here today, just another call out. We've had a number of jump judges that can no longer assist us this afternoon. So if you'd like to enjoy some time in the sun watching some fantastic action close up, if you could please come to the secretaries. We are in need of some more jump judges. As the higher classes, there are more fences and we have run out of jump judges. So if you could please come and offer your assistance, that would be greatly appreciated. Meanwhile, Chris, I do have a couple of scores to hand. Rochelle Adams and Mr. Apostrophe, they have picked up 14 times, so no jump penalties, but 14 time faults. Meanwhile, Sheridan Wilson and Pantega Lodge Mercury, they picked up 10.4, so time seems to be quite influential today.
While you're updating us there, we saw Tegan Ashby riding Magic Mushroom Tie come through the Horseland Lake over the Pride feeder and also over the ditch and log. This horse was just beautiful and light on its feet and just quick, really quick, without looking like he's working too hard at all. And he's done all these fences and just with effortless and beautifully through there. So Tegan will be having a great ride. That must feel absolutely fantastic with probably the course for them to go. Yeah, meanwhile, the next combination just coming up to the lake now. This horse, his baby's popped in here. Certainly got his very, very pricked. Got a nice line, seeing a long spot. And beautifully over that is Chelsea Clark. Chelsea, yep, through the Horseland Lake, all clean. No penalties incur coming up to the ditch and log. Adds in there, they were going for a long spot that the horse had better ideas, so we just chip in. Never a great feeling when you're the jockey, but the horse had that completely under control.
And Chris, interesting to note, Tegan Ashby and her lovely horse Magical Mushroom Tay, they're currently our overnight leader, so they seem to be having a great run up to this point, clear through 13A and B. Meanwhile, we just saw Helen Dianco and Lola Way safely through fence 18 at the Pride's Easy Feed Wagon and Brushes.
So we should keep an eye on Tegan Ashby and Magical Mushroom Tie. There, that combination in first. It went beautifully through the lake and down the bottom part of this course, and I think that should be in sight for you now, Beck.
Yeah, Chris, she's just coming to view now. Lovely big jump over the table there. This is a really nice jumping horse, really athletic, looking full of running, and so she seems to be having a fantastic ride so far, and currently in the lead. Meanwhile, we have a score for Leah Rodwell and Al Mansell. No jump penalties and 3.6 time, so time is proving to be a little bit of a challenge in this course today, Chris.
Meanwhile, Sarah Clark's in front of us here, riding Casalia. And Sarah's having to really work hard for this round so far. She's going clean. Looks like she's going clear in front of us, and she got through the lake okay. But this horse is lining up everything. Any jump it gets in its peripheral vision, he's aiming for it and saying, I'm going to go jump it. He's so keen. It's unbelievable. And he's as he goes across the country, he's really preferring that he'd like to go up the hill and go back to the stables. But they're doing a wonderful job to keep that horse on track and clear. Meanwhile, in interesting fashion, Samantha Chesnick, riding Quick Justice, has gone clear through the Horseland Lake. This horse actually, rather than bring his legs up to his chin over that pier, he actually popped them out to the side, which would have felt a bit awkward for a moment for that combination. But they're going well. Samantha's going well and back on track and over the ditch and log. And this horse has got its head down and really looking to go nice and quick.
And another combination to keep an eye out on, Chris. We have rider 110, Robin Brown. I think she's just come into view. She's currently sitting in second position aboard I'm Bobby 2.
And one for me, Becky, Robin Brown, who has probably had one of the most experienced riders we've got around this course here at Wandin. Absolutely textbook riding I'm Bobby 2. Beautifully over the big ditch and rail, having a wonderful ride. If you want to watch someone who's an efficient jockey and a beautiful cross-country jockey, just make sure you keep an eye on Robin as she heads out to the back of the course.
Yeah, we also have Juliet Darby, another local rider aboard Secret Liaison. Juliet's just jumped to the Bendigo bank, I believe, and should be coming down towards the lake shortly. Meanwhile, unfortunately for Chelsea Clark and Highfield, they've had a fall out the back at fence number 11, so at the angled houses. So unfortunately for that combination, they'll be taking no further part in the competition this weekend, Chris.
I'm sorry to hear that, Becky. Meanwhile, as you said, just in front of us here at the lake now, beautiful big jump into the lake. We see Juliet Darby very quietly up to the pier and pops over the pier very easily without too much effort. She did just use the encouragement stick just to make sure he was going over, and that was, I don't think he needed it. I think he was always going over, Mum, and now over the ditch as well.
Yeah, and coming back into view, Samantha Cessnick and Quick Justice. Really nice dark horse, really athletic, really quick, wasting no time through that combination. As hot on her heels, I think Sam might have overtaken Sarah Clark by the looks of it. They're two riders really close together, so Sam looks like she's wasting no time, and Sarah just going for an easy canter today.
And just coming down from the corrie now is one to keep an eye on, currently in second, and we've seen that time is tough to get. And on this course, as it always is in Wandin, it's a big hilly track, so it requires these two-star horses to stay on the pace. Robin's horse is certainly looking keen and wanting to stay on the pace, and she's having to use all her experience to just bring this boy back a little bit and make sure he sticks to the regulation strides between that combination. She's just got a couple of fences to go before she's home, and we'll have to keep an eye on her time.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see the time. We've also got Belle Marrow aboard Through the Mist, a lovely grey horse out on course. Belle's currently sitting in sixth position on a score of 35.6, so another combination to keep an eye out on, and easy to spot galloping across the hill here.
Tess Morrow safely through the Horseland Lake, using lots of verbal encouragement and really used some speed down to that ditch and log. We haven't seen too many people go at that sort of pace at that. was no problems at all. She knew where she was going. She saw her spot a long, long way out, and it was certainly a forward one and one with some pace. So maybe the message has got out there that time's a little bit tight, and so some of these riders looking to take a couple of extra risks and cut out here and there, because each one of those is costing you a second.
Yeah, and I've just got some scores to hand, Chris. Looks like Robin Brown and I'm Bobby too, that big lovely bay horse that was galloping so strongly. She has picked up 4.4 times, so it will be interesting to see how the leaderboard changes after the cross country, looking like the time will be really influential. Meanwhile, we've just seen Juliet Derby and Secret Liaison jump beautifully through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon and brushes at fence number 18.
And Belle Morrow riding through the twist. She's using everything she had to get her horse through this Horseland Lake. He wasn't overly keen on coming over the log to start with. So she certainly had the whip going, she had the voice going, she had her legs on and she had her seat in, and she was not stopping down here, and this horse had no choice but to go, and she's done a great job on Through the Mist to get through there. And not sure if she hadn't have used all that encouragement, if he would have gone through so beautifully. So she's done a great job, and now over the ditch and log clear as well, and coming through the fence, over the first fence, over the second one. They're clear out to the back of the course.
And
right now we're seeing Jessica Grossman, I think it is, Beck, maybe riding way out of order by the looks of it. You might have to correct me on that number. It looks like Jessica. They were in third overnight, so certainly one to watch. Rode a great line through the lake. Really angled the first one, so she had a beautiful line to the pier, and then actually jumped the ditch and log on quite an angle. So I think she got a bit of a shock at a bit of a deep spot there. But experience showing, and beautiful clear so far.
yeah, we have another starter out on course to keep an eye on, Chris. It's Sam Jeffries. He's back again. This time rider 112 on Santoro. Sam's already been around this course, so he will have a little bit of insider knowledge above the other riders. And he's currently sitting in fourth position on a score of 32.6. So another combination to keep an eye on, as we have seen the other riders picking up some time faults. So Juliet Derby and Secret Liaison, no jump penalties, but picking up 15.6 time.
And so Sam's up at the Yarra Valley Hay rack and Ayers Rock now, which is just at the back of the quarry, if you can see over the distance, if you're up on the hill there. Beautifully through those. I'm sure this is the third time, or maybe the fourth time I've commentated Sam today, so he certainly should know the way by now as he comes up to the Pride's feeder. We've seen some beautiful, lovely long spots here, and Sam didn't get that, unfortunately. He actually came down this horse as said, sorry Sam, I think we should add here, and he did, but obviously doesn't upset Sam with all his experience. He just sat tight. Lovely leap into the lake, the Horseland Lake, as he turns now to the pier itself. Got a strong, and just does that so easily. Textbook, and typical Sam style, he just stays in that 2-point position and he never ever moves. And he's doing that on these young horses too. So it's getting a great ride as he comes up to the ditch and log. Same thing there, absolute regulation.
Yeah, there's another new starter out on course. Chloe Brooks aboard, Courting the Breeze. Chloe's currently in 17th position on a score of 50.4. Meanwhile, coming back into view, Jessica Grossman aboard Incline Park Remembrance really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon, and she's wasting no time as she gallops for the last few fences in the Pride's CCI 2-star class.
Yeah, and Chloe's continued around this course quite quickly, Becky. Is already up and up to the Pride's Easy Feed now already. Just sorting herself out between the jump in and the pier. Rain's got a bit long, but then completely organised by the time it came to the pier. Lovely jump and safely through there.
Yeah, we have another starter out on course. Penelope Johnson aboard Prosecco. Penelope's riding with number 97 on her back today and currently sitting in 18th position on a score of 50.5. Now, Penelope should also have a little bit of insider knowledge as to how the track's going, having ridden the 2-star long track yesterday, so a few minor changes to the course, but she would have jumped a majority of the fences. So Penelope's clear through the Stockman's Hut, Chris.
Yeah, they are already clear through the Stockman's Hut and also over the Yarravelli Hay, the Pride's Easy Feed log trailer, and now approaching the Horseland Lake. Definitely got to be an advantage that you've already gone around this course yesterday, and she's using that all that experience. I think in front of us here, Beck, on riding with number 106 is actually Bronte Bravo. I'm commentating on it. Unfortunately, we've seen one of our first stops here. Just got a little bit in front of the momentum, a little bit too far forward, and this horse added, and she wasn't able just to pop over that. So just going to turn and have another shot. This is Bronte riding Showtime. Got a lot more momentum this time. Popped over there. She has actually managed to land without a stirrup. No problems for these riders though. Land without a stirrup. She hasn't even come back to the walk. Got her stirrup back, got herself sorted, and she's back on track again. Almost like stirrups are optional, and she's back sorted again. So beautiful jump over the ditch log, and that'll give them some confidence. It's a real confidence builder fence if you jump that one well. So unfortunately, picking up the refusal here at the pier, and she'll be kicking herself for that because on the second time of asking, they did it with no effort whatsoever. So she'll be kicking herself for that.
Yeah, and while that action was happening, we did see Sam Jeffries aboard Santoro really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon, and he seemed to be really efficient with his turns and should be close to the time. Meanwhile, just coming into view is Chloe Brooks aboard In the Breeze. This horse seems to be still full of running as she kicks on towards the last few fences, chasing the clock. And I just got a score for Sam. He picked up 0.4, so just 1 second time for Sam and Santoro.
And we saw Penny Johnson riding Prosecco. Had a lovely ride through the lake and over the ditch and log. They'll be having a great ride. You know, Penny's another one of our super experienced riders, and she's showing that on this horse. She continues out to the back of the course. Meanwhile, just in front of us now and having some trouble at the first of the Horseland Lake. So this is a tiny little log for everyone to know is Belle Morrow riding through the mist. It's a tiny log, but it's not about the size of the jump. It's all about the fact that as the horse comes up, all they see behind that log is the expanse of the lake. They see boats, they see chuts, and they see piers. It's really, really busy. So they're coming back around now, having a second approach. And then on second approach, after she's done the experience thing of popping this horse into the lake, giving her a bit of a school, it's absolutely no problems. A beautiful jump there. That was Katie Slocum. But very, very quick. I think it looks like Sean Millmaker, by the looks of that, from memory, or maybe I'm wrong. It's hard to see these numbers down here, Beck. Everyone's going so fast, right on their heels after having that stop. Yeah,
that is Sean. You're correct, Chris. So he'll be probably hoping to overtake that rider. Meanwhile, for Belle Morrow and Through the Mist, picking up just 1.6 time faults with a nice clear cross-country round for that combination. Meanwhile, we have Stacey Tucker and Tullows Touch of Frost, rider 116 out on course. Stacey's currently in 10th position on a score of 39.4. And they're safely over the first 3 fences. So I do have some provisional scores for this class, Chris. So Tegan Ashby, they picked up no jump penalties and finished on their dressage score. So they're currently our leader of this class, while Sam Jeffries and Santoro picking up just that 1 second to be in second position, and Robin Brown and I'm Bobby 2 currently sitting in third.
Meanwhile, Becky, we've got another combination at the lake. This commentator has absolutely no idea what's going on, who's who anymore. To me, we should have finished this section, but there's still riders coming. To me, it looks like a ride 102, and it's the first combination we've seen elect to go past the jump, pop into the lake first, get this horse's confidence up. It's rider 103 actually, so it's Man and Shay. They're in. So while they're doing that and getting this horse's confidence up, we've got Stacey Tucker. She's up. She's popped into the lake beautifully. Used plenty of stick and really got this horse over the pier as well. And then that leaves time for a very, very calm and beautiful ride from Leah Rodwell. I think it's Leah. It's so hard to tell down here. It's either Manon or Leah. And just a really experienced ride and being very gentle on this horse. I'm assuming it's pretty green.
Yeah,
gave it a little look at the lake first and then has cantered through there without picking up any penalties.
Yeah, that's rider 102, Leah Rodwell. There. Meanwhile, we've just seen Sean really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed wagon. He does appear to have overtaken the rider he was following. I think that was Katie Slocum, who's taking it a little easier after their refusal there in the lake, Chris. So I have a score for Balmoral and Through the Mist. No jump penalties and picking up 1.6 times. So a quick round for them cross country. Meanwhile, we have Stacey Tucker and Tallo's Touch of Frost at the back later part of the course, making their way up towards the angled houses and the log and brush. So it looks like these are the last few riders in this Pride CCI 2-star short course today. And unfortunately, none of these riders will be able to move up the leaderboard with their current scores. So they'll be hoping for a nice, clear and fast round. So Katie Slocum and Emmeline, they did get overtaken, I think around the course, picking up 38.8 time after that refusal cross country. And
we're just expecting these last two riders in the Pride's CCI 2-star short course class, just coming out of the quarry as we speak. It's amazing. This is a tough combination of fences, but being built so well that hasn't caused too many problems. And of course, that's the commentator's curse, because this little horse comes down, sees all the busyness of the place, and Leah's just give him a little look around. Really kind ride. This horse's eyes have popped out of his head and he's looking around saying, oh my God, I've never seen so many people, so many colours, so much going on. Gives him a little trot round. This is what these experienced jockeys do with these young horses to get their confidence up. This combination's actually, combination of fences has actually jumped really well today. And so we'd expect them to come around. This little horse is just shied at a change in the colour of the grass. And so there's lots going on. Coming now, reapproaching now. Beautiful big jump. And no problem with the actual fences when he gets there. Meanwhile, coming up to the third element then. And Manon showing all her skill to get that horse through there. Beautiful ride. This will really benefit this horse over the years. To get him going around with his ears pricked and kind and realise that it's all okay. Yeah, things like spectators aren't that scary.
I think that was actually Leah Rodwell, rider 102. Unfortunately, we can see Stacey Tucker and Tallo's Touch of Frost. They seem to be walking back from the later part of the course. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to them, but they're taking the long walk home. Meanwhile, just another call out for any helpers. If you are willing to assist, we are in desperate need of people at both of the show jumping rings. So if you've got a little bit of time to spare, your help would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you're not in the path as these riders will be coming.
It might not be obvious while you're enjoying your horse's racing career, but it's never too early to consider their retirement plan. Whether it's resetting horses for a second career, sponsoring equestrian events, or supporting our acknowledged retrainer network, Racing Victoria's Off the Track team can help. Visit the Off the Track community to start planning your horse's second career.
Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines, horse sales and in racing animals. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat, with ingredients all selected for their ability to improve skin and coat condition. Add Livermol Feed Optimizer pellets for horse health, growth and performance, and the Livermol grooming range to stand out from the crowd. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information. Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information.
And it looks like we do have our first starter out on course. This is Lily Wickerton aboard EA Berlin, currently sitting in second position. And she looks like she's clear up to the Bendigo Bank at fence number 6, A and B. She'll be making a big, great sweeping turn to jump another fence before she heads down towards the Horseland unfinished bridge.
Yeah, we're expecting them to come into sight. You can certainly notice the difference, and everyone should pay attention. These riders in this class are certainly going quite a bit quicker. And so just keep an eye. They will be taking a different track. It's come to the big leap off the unfinished bridge there. That's a beautiful jump. And the first rider in this class to be coming up to the lake, and you can actually see completely different track here. There's no actual jump here the first time they pass through the lake. They just gallop through the lake because it's the quickest route. And we see them, they've got to do a big loop and come back to the lake now. And the first of our three-star riders. Nice and quiet, lovely half 30-metre circle. Same thing here, lovely quiet ride over the pier. And then they actually have another element as well, which is a boat, an upturned boat, and beautifully over that too. So that's the first combination into the lake. Done a lovely loop, not wasting any time. really moving quickly. It's the first rider coming up to us now. That's Lily Wickham, right, EA Berlin. They're currently in second, just approaching fence number 11 now. Sees a lovely long spot. These horses don't worry about that. Doesn't waste any time. Very quickly up to what is probably one of the toughest fences on the course, Becky, in this 3-star class. And that's after the Ag Power Barn. That's the Broadway Park flower boxes. We can see them just approaching that for the first time now. This is really tough. It's 3 fences. They're really narrow and it's on a big downhill. And you can see getting quite deep into the second one there. Really had to sit up. This horse is super straight, super honest. And that's the first rider combination through that treble. And they've done a great job there for Lily.
Yeah, and just heading down to the Horseland Bridge, we have our second rider out on course. This is Georgia Tivendale, rider number 28 aboard Star Allure. So, really nice galloping horse. Just coming through to get his feet wet that first time. And as you said before, Chris, no actual fences the first time they cross through the lake.
No, it's not. Just a lovely ox for him to jump over, rising oxer. And they turn back on themselves now. That's Georgia riding Star Allure. She approaches the first jump, actually nice little rising shape. Then they're in the lake themselves. They get a few strides in the lake. Very sticky over the pier crossing there. Only just got enough height to get over there. And then with hardly any canter, jumps the boat from a long and she did the old hail the cab that we don't see very often nowadays. Got the arm right back, but managed to get those back legs over the boat. So she'll be looking for a bit more energy coming up to these next few fences. This horse is already in a beautiful gallop. Does a little flying change as it approaches fence 11. It's lovely over the Ag Power Barn at fence 11.
And we've just been handed a shoe that was picked up from fence number 17, I believe. So if you're missing a shoe with a pad and a stud from earlier, if you could come to the Secretary's office, we do have your shoe. Meanwhile, we have another starter out on course, rider 32. This is Sophie Kelly aboard Grand J. Lovely big grey horse. Just did a lovely leap over fence number 3. He's heading across towards the Bendigo Bank now. There is a small delay on the live stream, unfortunately. So we've got 3 horses out on course. We've got Lily Wickerton and EA Berlin currently sitting in second position as they make their way out to the prize easy feed wagon. So as we saw
before, coming into view now. This Trailblazer over the first element there. Lily sitting up, really got focused on this double, this combination. That was beautiful. Takes the flag out, but that's perfectly legal as long as the horse's shoulders are getting in between the flag and the jump. That looked like it was pretty good, and Lily's on her way again.
Yeah, she seems to be having a really nice ride. Meanwhile, we've got Georgia Tivendale aboard Star Allure. They're clear through up to fence 14A and B out the back, which is the Broadway Park flower boxes.
Yeah, and Sophie Kelly's continuing on well. She's just at the first lake crossing now. As we said, no jump of the first lake crossing, but they've managed to do the spectacular fence, which is the unfinished bridge. If you haven't walked down to have a look at that fence in particular, you should make sure you get down there and have a look. It is something quite unique in Wandin to see a fence that big, and that's. We just see this combination now. Oh, massive, massive leap over the pier. And same thing here over the boat. This horse has got just the most enormous amount of scope. From what is a lovely, quiet canter, it is absolutely flown through the air over the pier. Seriously impressive. That would have felt pretty amazing for Sophie, feeling Grand Janny just jumped that big. Just an enormous amount of scope. And he just comes galloping past me now. Not with an enormous amount of pace. She sees her stride for about 6 strides out. Doesn't waste any time. The next for them, though, is they have to go up to their this really tough, narrow combination of fences at the Broadway Park Flowers. It's 12A, B, and C. And they're super narrow and on a very steep downhill as we see that combination. Just approaching the first element here. The riders give them lots of respect. Look how slow they go. Not galloping anymore, but they start to build up speed as she goes down the hill. She's over the first 2 elements, clear. Turns now for the third one. This horse is very keen. She's just managed to squeeze that last stride in and stay inside the white flag. So it took all the talent That horse has got a lot of scope in its jump, which means it jumps really big. And you can see that almost jumped her into some trouble there because it makes those distances a little bit short. But there's plenty of talent from Sophie there to get that horse clean.
Yeah, we've just seen another new starter out on course. I believe this is Charlotte Kerwin aboard LP Janvier. Charlotte's currently sitting in a 4th position on 36.6, and she did a lovely jump off the Horseland Bridge and just circling around the lake into view for you there, Chris.
Yeah, another one of these riders giving the lake some respect, not turning up too short, popping over the first element of the lake. Now, it's not a super tough fence for these horses. Again, quite sticky down at the actual pier itself. The horse really losing momentum. She had to really work. She set up and actually added there for the last element, which is the upturned boat. Doing a beautiful job there. She's currently got a little bit lost here on course, but we're just watching her, getting ourselves back on track. It's all good. So just always keep an eye out. You never know where these riders are going to go. I don't think this rider has a particular understanding of where she's going to go. That's Charlotte, but she's back on track now, no problems at all. And beautifully over that fence 13. And on her way to that next tough fence, which I'll pick up in a minute.
Yeah, and a couple of interesting scores to hand, Chris. The time to get here at the Horseland Wandin Park Horse Trials is always notoriously difficult to get. So our first 2 riders, we had Lily Wickerton and E.A. Berlin. No jump penalties, picking up 19.6 time penalties. Meanwhile, Georgia Tivendale and Star Allure, they also jumped clear, picking up 18.8 times. So the time is proving to be quite difficult. Meanwhile, we've just seen Sophie Kelly and the beautiful giant Grand J make a lovely leap over the Pride's Easy Feed wagon and really straight and textbook through the brushes.
Yeah, and unfortunately for, looks like Charlotte, number 33, riding LP Janvier, look like they've picked up a penalty at that combination of fences which we were talking about, Broadway Park flower boxes on the downhill. She certainly had to do a circle there, and we were talking about that, and that horse was super keen, so whether she looked like she just got a little bit out of control going down the hill. Meanwhile, in front of us, the familiar colours of Sam. Just cut the quarry beautifully through there. That's Sam Jeffrey. He was in 10th, but just make a note that he's not that far behind one of the leading riders. And this time is certainly really, really influential on this course. So he'll be looking to just have a nice clear round, very close to the time. And you can see Sam, he doesn't even take a pull or any sort of check coming into the fence there at the Ag Power barn. Next one for him is this Broadway Park flower boxes. This is where we saw Charlotte just have a refusal on the way down the hill and have to do a circle. We'll see if the same happens to Sam. He certainly got a little bit more pace on than the previous riders, not worrying too much about putting the brakes on. He's managed to do both of that line actually in regulation style, and that was beautiful. He's straight through there for that combination of the Broadway Park flower boxes.
Yeah, while that action's been happening, we've had a new starter out on course. This is Sophie Bennett aboard Valgari. She's currently sitting in 7th position on a score of 46.4 and is safely through to fence number 7, making her way to the Horseland Bridge.
Yeah, just coming down to that now, Beck. Jumped it like it wasn't even there, didn't even realise they were on a bridge. Coming up to the lake, they get to cross in there. The horse buckled under its leg when he saw the lake at the last second. Just got a bit of a shock. Oh, and she rides a massive miss at the canoe, which is just a nice roll top of a fence, but she's just wasting no time. And so she wasn't worried about that spot, and she's taken the tightest line we've seen so far coming into the Horseland Lake. And got the whip out, and she's really not wasting any time. So this is probably the fastest combination we've seen through here. Not wasting any time and seriously taking some short, tight lines. Got her eyes up, not lost at all. Seen some riders take a couple of alternative routes, but Sophie Bennett riding Bulgari, not having any of that. Really, really efficient. Taking the tightest line and rides another jump just on where it came up. Didn't worry about the spot. It's not a tough fence at all, that Ag Power barn. But she's coming up to the Broadway Park flower boxes. So we need to keep an eye on this combination because she is going super quick and obviously looking to put a really good time in, which could make a huge difference to these scores. Oh, and she's had a massive leap over the Part B and somehow managed to get back on track for C. Great riding. So much strength, absolutely huge amount of strength for her to stay in that saddle there and keep steering, keep that horse on track and really quickly through that triple combination of the Broadway Park flower boxes.
Yeah, we've just seen Samuel Jeffries and Kenlock Cadillac really nicely through the Pride's Easy Feed Wagon and brushes. He seems to be having another really good ride and also wasting no time. Meanwhile, we have a score for Sophie Kelly and Grand J. No jump penalties for them, picking up 23.2 time. And Charlotte Kerwin and LP Janvier also jumping clear with 23.6. So it seems to be really tough with the time here today, Chris.
Yeah, and I think we've got Bessie Dimmery in front of us there. That's the first combination we've seen elect to take the option at the Horseland Bridge. So there is actually an option there, which means you don't go off the bridge at all, and you just come around and jump a nice little rising oxer. That combination is elected to do that. That will give him some time. And Sandhill Style, though, he's going really strong. I don't know if it would have been a problem for him or not, but she knows him really well as he pops into the first part of the lake, over the B element of the Horseland Lake, and now turning to the upturn canoe. She's had beautiful jumps there. Got super deep at the upturn canoe. So a big thanks there to the course designers because if that was a slightly different shape and a bit more upright, that would have been a little bit ugly, but she's rolled over the top with the front legs. I'm just looking for that next fence now as they come into that. This is another combination that's elected to go on the upside of the rope rather than stay in nice and tight and take that on a slight downhill rather than uphill. That's the second combination we've seen to do that, so it's interesting. Maybe that's actually a quicker route, which I wouldn't have expected, but it's certainly not the first rider we've seen do that. Is Bessie now coming down to this triple combination of the Broadway Park flower boxes. Over the first, it's really narrow, and as I said, it's on a big downhill over the second. And you can see them land. They land at least 3 metres out from the base of that and beautifully through there. So doing really well now after taking the option there at the Horseland Bridge.
And we have a score to hand for Sam Jeffries aboard Kenlock Cadillac. As you saw before, Chris, he didn't seem to take a single pull the whole way around. Did a beautiful, lovely flowing course and picking up just 9.6. So he's happy, proving that the time can be slightly more achievable than some of the others. Meanwhile, we have Hannah Kelp and Talura Chikove doing a lovely bold jump off the Horseland Bridge there, Chris, and heading towards the lake.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's Hannah Clapp. Hannah is coming across just to this really basic fence. About to turn now. She's going to loop back on herself. Currently in 6th and only less than 10 penalties behind the limit. So we've seen some of these times, the fastest time we've seen is incurred 9 penalties. So a fast round and she could go into the lead here. She's not going super quick, but she's also not wasting any time. My God, this horse just flew through the air. The back end was amazing. Unbelievable. And over the upturned boat as well. And she's turning now. She's gone the quick route here, staying on the low side of the fence. Next for her, right in front of her, is the Ag Power barn. Very simple fence. And as I said, not one of the faster riders, this horse. He's lining up everything else. He's just lined up a 4-star fence. I think he was going to try and jump that, and she's had to put him back on track. But beautifully over the Ag Power barn. And we'll see them approach the Broadway Park flower bowers.
Yeah, while she's cantering towards the flower boxes there, Chris, we can see Bessie Dimmery and Sandhill Style. They seem to be having a good run so far, and they just jumped really neatly through the Pride's Easy Feed Wagon and brushes. Meanwhile, unfortunately for Sophie Bennett and Valgari, they seem to be walking back, so I'm not sure what's happened to them, but unfortunately they have finished their day a little earlier than they hoped. Meanwhile, we have rider 39, Lisa Clausing, and Will Tony Garnett. Lisa's out on course. She's currently sitting in 11th position on a score of 52.6. And I think she's...
And Becky, that combination looked like they're held at the Stockman's Hut, or they're pausing at the Stockman's Hut, just trying to get an eye of what's going on up there. They were the next combination we were expecting to swing around to this bottom part of the course, but looks like they're walking home.
Yeah, I think they've had some trouble at the 4A and have elected to retire, Chris. So unfortunately, they're also taking that long walk home. So I've got a time for Bessie. So Bessie Dimery, rider number 37, and Sandhill Style. They jumped around the course clear, picking up 10 time penalties. So they also didn't waste too much time out there.
Yeah, so unfortunately for that combination of Lisa Clausing, they are walking home after having a stop at the AE Equestrian and Farming Product Stockman's Hut. Unusual place to pick up a stop for these more experienced horses. It's just a pretty basic log combination. There is a lot going on up there, and it is on quite a hill, so something about that today. It's only fence 4, just not on par for this horse today, and so they'll come back another day and start again somewhere else. The course has been riding really well today. We've seen a couple of stops on course, so some real questions out here from the course designers. But we couldn't ask for better going. The conditions are absolutely magnificent. The green grass has got a beautiful cover. The ground has been aerated a little bit, but basically is almost perfect for cross country.
Yeah, and while there is a small break, I think we are waiting for Lily Wickerton and First Sensation to be starting their round. Meanwhile, coming into view, I think that is Hannah Klepp and Tulura Chikove. They've been having a good run up to this point and jumped really nicely through the brushes there. So just the one combination out on course. Meanwhile, I do have some provisional scores. So looks like Lily Wickerton and her first ride is currently sitting in first position, while Charlotte Kerwin and LP Janvier, Sam Jeffries, and
as she comes down the hill, and we'll expect her to take the direct route at the Horseland Bridge. If you're at the course and you haven't seen this before, you make sure you go down and have a look at this sensational jump. It's not a massive jump, but it's a massive bridge, and the horse is suspended in the air. It's unlike most things you'll ever see. As Lily comes up right into view for us all, close-up view at the lake. And she is not wasting any time at all. We weren't sure how fast Lily was going to go and whether she was really going to push this horse to make sure that Furious Sensation gets the win, but she's certainly going quick. She has taken a wide line to give this horse plenty of view to know what's in front of him. She's collected him right up, got his head up nice and high. Full technique as he gets it right next to each other, and she's got a bit of a dead ugly spot there, and on landing Lily's just said, come on mate, get on the job, keep moving. And he wasn't, he was a bit off the job there. He got a little bit lazy towards the pier crossing, but Lily's experience certainly sorts that out. Got him back on track again, got him focused, and she's pushing. This is a bit of an uphill now as she approaches the Ag Power Barn. Lovely jump over there. So what we're looking for with these horses is to make sure they don't waste any time. Yeah, so every time you take a pull or take a check, you're wasting time, and it's all about not only going clear today for Lily, but she's got to get a good time if she wants to maintain that first position. Next on course is the Broadway Park flower boxes. This is the narrow flower boxes on a really steep hill. And they're really down the hill, and she's work. Oh my God, and she's got super deep, probably almost on a 45-degree angle at takeoff for the last element. But Lily's skill to get that horse to say, no matter what happens, we're going to get your front legs to the base of this jump and we're going to go through those flags, was never in doubt. And so it was great riding from her, because that horse was super keen down that hill and she had to work hard to keep him on track. And she now heads out to the big ditch and brush, another enormous fence on course, bit of a rider scarer, right at the back of the course before heading up to the Wandin Which Way, which has been reinvented, reimagined, as they say nowadays. It's been reimagined from what it was. It's been slightly altered over the years, and for the first time the original jumps have all been removed. So make sure you have a look at that if you haven't looked at the Wandin Which Way for a few years, because it's all new. And that's the first time there's been a change there for probably such a substantial change for almost 40 years that this Wandin Horse Trials has been running. We're expecting Lily Wickerton and Furious Sensation, current leaders after dressage and show jumping. We're expecting them to be approaching that Wandin Which Way and coming up to the quarry. Becky in central control will have the best idea of how they're going, but we're expecting them to come very quickly down to the Pride's Easy Feed Hotel and the Horseland Saddlery before the last real question on course, which is the Wallace Equine Brush Tractors right in front of the spectators' position here. And we can just see it coming into view now and coming towards the hotel. Great place to get a photo.
Yeah, well, Lily's certainly wasting no time as she travels around this course. Interesting to note, as she is our final competitor, she has got 11.6 penalties up her sleeve, so she won't be wanting to waste any time if she wants to hold on to the lead ahead of Bessie, Dimmery and Sandhill Style. So yeah, made really light work of that massive table and the brushes. Again, another tough line, narrow fence with lots to look at, but certainly no issues for this combination, our current overnight leader. So clear through the Equine Brush Tractors at fence 21. So she's just got 3 fences left to go.
And beautifully over the Ag Power Flowers, Becky, as well. Again, just make it look easy. And she did the same there. She heads to the finish now.
Yeah, so we'll be eagerly awaiting to see her time. It'll all go down to time with that 11.6 buffer zone. So it'd be interesting to see if Lily can hold on to her first position. So she is our final rider out on course for this Horseland CCI 3-star short course today. And I've just seen her safely jump over the Isuzu Arch at fence number 24. So Lily is through the finish flags and giving first sensation.
It might not be obvious while you're enjoying your horse's racing career, but it's never too early to consider their retirement plan. Whether it's resetting horses for a second career, sponsoring equestrian events, or supporting our acknowledged retrainer network, Racing Victoria's Off the Track team can help. Visit the Off the Track community to start planning your horse's second career.
Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines, horse sales and in racing animals. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat, with ingredients all selected for their ability to improve skin and coat condition. Add Livermol Feed Optimizer pellets for horse health, growth and performance, and the Livermol grooming range to stand out from the crowd. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information. Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information.
"30 years in business, Pride's Easy Feed continues to stand as a proud Australian family equine dedicated feed company. Based on the Liverpool Plains, Pride's is the only facility of its type producing extruded cubes, extruded sweet feeds and pellets on 3 separate production lines. We would like to wish our Pride-sponsored riders the best of luck for the event ahead. And be sure to pop over to the Pride's marquee to see our range of feeds and ask any questions that you might have with getting the right diet for your horse.
It might not be obvious while you're enjoying your horse's racing career, but it's never too early to consider their retirement plan. Whether it's resetting horses for a second career, sponsoring equestrian events, or supporting our acknowledged retrainer network, Racing Victoria's Off the Track team can help. Visit the Off the Track community to start planning your horse's second career.
Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines, horse sales and in racing animals. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat, with ingredients all selected for their ability to improve skin and coat condition. Add Livermol Feed Optimizer pellets for horse health, growth and performance, and the Livermol grooming range to stand out from the crowd. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information. Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information.
And WEC in the money. Interesting to note, this is one of his own homebred horses that he's competing here in this CCI 4-star class. So always a pleasure to breed and ride your competition horse.
Yeah, and he's already beautifully through the AE Equestrian and Farming Products Stockman's Hut. We see Dave just coming over 5A and B. That's the Bendigo bank. Not wasting any time at all. He's got an angled brush at the back of the course. For these 4-star horses, we're not expecting it to be any much of a question for them at all. It's certainly an effort. Requires effort on their part, and they'll very quickly. But just keep your eyes open now as he comes down to the Horseland Bridge at fence 7. Dave currently in second and has had for many years a reputation of being one of the fastest riders on the equestrian circuit. So keep your eyes open for him. This is going to be a quick course if he's got his eye on trying to take the win here as his beautiful jump over the Horseland Bridge as he approaches the lake for the first time. This is 8AMB, the Horseland Lake. He's in the water now, turning very quickly to a lovely big oxer in the lake itself. He's had a big leap there and then very quickly over the B element on the way out. Dave actually getting himself a little bit out of sorts there through the lake. He had such a big jump. I think he may have lost his stirrups over the fence in the water, but you can see he's got himself organised now, just turning as he approaches the platters and more Delhi brush oxer. Makes it look easy. I'll just tell you, go and have a look at the size of the jump and then you'll realise it's not that easy. You've got a tight turn there to the curved of brushes. That's 10A and B, and he's done those really well as well. He's actually done the B element quite straight, so he hasn't put as much curve in it and required this horse to be really well trained and on, and certainly nice and straight and on the job, and he is that. Coming up again, he's going to come to the Horseland Lake, and this is fence 11 and 12. He's over the first element now. He's coming down to a really big roll top oxer in the water there. He had a long spot with not much canter, and I can assure you Dave would have had his heart in his mouth there. He got right out the back, hail in the cab to make sure this horse's back legs got over the fence. He's done that now. And as he comes in, just big jump over the Pride's Easy Feed wagon. Again, big fences, big oxers up to maximum height. And this horse really getting some air. But next for him is these Broadway Park rolling hills. This is 14 ABC. You should be able to see this from the spectator's position. individually, these fences aren't tough for these horses, but when they're put in combination like this and put on the downhill, there's certainly a question. You can see Dave, he's really given them that respect to do them properly as he continues now, and he's off to the back of the course for a few big island fences, individual fences, before he comes up to the Wandin which way.
Yeah, and we have a new starter out on course. This is rider number 4, Laura Wallace, and she's aboard Van Heck. Laura is currently sitting in 8th position on a score of 48.4, and she's safely over the first 3 fences. So 2 competitors out on course. You will notice these horses are going considerably faster. They'll be going at 570 metres a minute, so certainly not wasting any time. They've got 33 efforts around this course and 6 minutes and 9 seconds optimum time to get around the course. So Laura Wallace and Van Heck jumping through the Bendigo Bank, and we have Dave Middleton out the back part of the course out of view, jumping the Wandin which way.
Yeah, Laura Wallace riding Van Heck so far going really well. Again, not wasting too much time. It's beautifully gone over the angled brush at the back of the course, and we're expecting her at the Horseland brush. Now, Laura Wallace, she's in 8th on a score of 48.4. That's not even 10 penalties behind the leaders. So we've got to keep an eye on these combinations because it's all about time for these horses. Beautiful jump off the Horseland bridge and up to the lake for the first time. So new line here. Everyone's got to say super still. Actually right up beside the beach huts. Got a nice spot to that. Much nicer than Dave. She's still in the saddle there. Didn't have to do such a big leap over the B element as well. Not going super quick. I'd expect them to be going a little bit quicker than that. So we'll keep an eye on her time. But we'll watch them do the big turn here. This is the Platters and More Delhi Brush Oxer, and then followed by the curve brushes. So over that first one, beautifully over that, the Platters and More Delhi Brush Oxer. And just keep an eye on the line that they take here. So Dave took a really tight line, did it on a super angle, that second element. We'll see if Laura adds and pops that. Yeah, she's done it a little bit squarer than Dave did, and coming up to the Horseland Lake again. So keep an eye on them there as they approach.
Yeah, so we have Dave Middleton and WEC in the money clear through. Unfortunately for Dave Middleton, he has actually jumped the wrong fence at fence number 3 up at the Stockman's Hut. So Dave Middleton has actually been pulled up and retiring, or pulled off the course, as he has unfortunately jumped the wrong fence at the Stockman's Hut. So I know Dave will be kicking himself for making a silly rider error like that.
Meanwhile, Laura Wallace riding Van Heck, having to work really hard at what would be one of the most basic fences on this course. Fence number 13. It's a simple oxer. But this horse was just really staring at it. It's got lots of prides, bags of feeds there. Maybe he was recognising his feed, but he was certainly not focused on the jump, and she had to work so hard to get the horse straight, and he was really not pleased about the this driving cart and the fake horse that's on the front of it. He's looking at it, and he swung his back legs out and even took out a back flag. So amazing. Even at this really high level, some of these horses are still looking and still a bit spooky.
Yeah, so we have another starter out on course. Rider number 5, Isabel Horton, aboard Tulara Durango. She's currently sitting in 6th position on a score of 45.6. We've seen her jump through the Bendigo Bank and heading down towards the Horseland Bridge. So unfortunately, just the 2 horses out on course at the moment.
Yeah, Isabel over the Horseland Bridge, coming up to the Horseland Lake for the first time. So we've seen them, they go through the Horseland Lake twice. The first time, they jump a really big roll top in the middle of the lake. Beautiful jump there from Isabel. And as they come out of the lake, they jump another fence, the B element. So the 2 efforts required there before they do a big loop. And that big loop takes them over the Platters and More Delhi Brush Oxer and the curved brushes. And then they come back and they go through the the lake again. We haven't seen many great rides through the lake yet. These rides, the distance down to the Oxer, the roll top in the middle of the lake, looks like it's quite long. And some of these horses really struggling to try and get over the back of that fence, because it's a big fence in the middle of the water. So we'll see how Isabel Horton does through here and see what sort of ride she does. All the riders have elected to cut a stride out and to do it straight, to do it almost on quite a serious angle. Isabel now just coming up, giving the first element some respect. Horse was beautifully in front. She's actually curved this a little bit. Yeah, she actually curved that, straightened it up a bit, and done it a little bit straighter. Got a much nicer spot, looked a lot nicer for that combination. And she probably looks like she saved time, because her turn after the fence, her U-turn after the fence, was much tighter than others that we've seen. As she approaches the Pride's Oxer, her horse having a bit of a stare at the fake horse on the front of that cart as well.
Yeah, Chris, we've just seen now our trailblazer out on course, Laura Wallace aboard Van Heck, really, really nicely through the Wallace Equine Brush tractors. So they jump the big table just as the earlier classes did, but they have a slightly tougher line heading down the hill over the two narrow brush fences, and obviously a lot to look at entering the area where all the spectators and trade stand villages are, but no troubles for Laura Wallace and Van Heck. Meanwhile, we also
no troubles for Isabel Horton over the Broadway Park rolling hills. That's that triple combination down the hill just before they head out into the very back paddock here at Wandin Park. Again, keep an eye on the time for that combination. They're not far off the pace in sixth. And a good clean round could certainly keep them on track. With Dave Middleton having to retire for an error, of course, that actually pops them up into fifth place. So they're certainly in contention for some of the high places as they head out to the back of the course.
Yeah, we have another starter out on course. This time it's Hayley Fulick and Jundin Black Watch. So currently on a score of 51.2 and sitting in ninth position, and they look to be having a great ride over the first 6 fences heading down towards the Horseland Bridge.
Yeah, not wasting a second, really quickly onto the bridge, galloping across that. I don't think the horse even realised it was on the bridge. You know, coming up to the lake now, not wasting any time at all, is Hayley Freilich riding Dunedin Black Watch. Tight turn, sees a long spot to the Ox. It jumps it beautifully, lands all 4 legs at once though, so just pecked a bit on landing. But no problems, got the pace back on again, done element B as they come up to the platters and more Delhi brush. A lot of jumps here. It's really hard to keep this 570 metres a minute pace, right, when there's so many fences in such quick succession. You know, you slow down for one fence, you have to get going again, come back again. And it's really tough to maintain pace and to try and stay on the pace. There's a big turn there, and she's nearly missed that B element of the curved brushes. Really got out wide there, and I assume she might have some studs in this horse, because she cornered like she was on rails in the end, managed to hold that line. We'll see what approach she takes to the Horseland Lake now. No, they're going the straight route as well, but they've done that beautifully. Best we've seen so far for the angles through there, and turned really quickly afterwards as well. And that's Hayley Freilich riding Dunedin Black Watch, coming up to the big Pride's wagon now. Beautiful jump over there as well, Becky.
Yeah, and while we were watching Hayley, we saw Isabel Horton and Tallulah Durango really nicely through that Pride's Easy Feed wagon and brush combination. She did tap the flag as she went through those narrow brushes, but the horse certainly jumped the fence, and there'd be no questions about that. So we do have a time for our first competitor around the track. Was Laura Wallace and Van Heck. So no jump penalties for them, but 31.2 time. So a considerable amount of time. Meanwhile, Izzy Horton, she's also jumped around clear, picking up 15.2 time. So I think the leaderboard has the potential to have a really big shake-up, Chris.
Yeah, and I think we've got maybe Hannah Klepp. It's a long way away, just going through the Stockman's Hut at the moment. That's the AE Equestrian and Farming Products Stockman's Hut across the top of the track there. Beautiful galloping. You might be able to correct me if I've got the wrong person, if they've started out of order, Beck. But next for that combination is the Bendigo Bank at 5A and B. Really narrow fence. Then they have to climb up over a bank, down over a bank, and then very quickly over a very narrow brush fence. And it requires a lot of trust and it requires a lot of accuracy on behalf of the horse to get over those fences. They're turning now. They've got the angled brush before they'll come down to this lake complex, starting with the Horseland Bridge.
Yeah, so we have Hayley, Freilich and Dundoo and Blackwatch clear through to fence 16 A and B. Meanwhile, you can see Hannah, Klepp and Reprieve in your view there, Chris, making their way down to the Horseland Bridge.
Wonderful, thanks for the clarification, Beck. Beautiful coming into the Horseland Bridge now. Another one using lots of pace. Oop, just pecked on landing a little bit there, a bit steep. Probably going a little bit slower than some of the other combinations. I think speed might actually help you as you leap off that bridge. Turning now into the Horseland Lake. Beautiful spot at the roll top oxer there and a lovely spot at the B element on the way out as well. And for Hannah, riding Reprieve, she's got this big brush in front of her now. It looks so easy from here. Look at the distance. They just pop over these fences. Hannah and Reprieve just popped over that. You can actually see her coming to these curved brushes. She's giving them a little bit more respect than we saw Hayley Freilich. She's taken that much slower. So Hayley, it's one to watch. We've just seen Hayley finish up the course, get through the Shandong bottle. Really interested to see what her time is when it comes through. As we see Hayley Klepp riding Reprieve, clearly taking a quieter round, going quite a bit slower, really setting this horse up beautifully for these fences. And it's going to be a real confidence run at this level. Electing to turn out to the left, then come back to the right, add a stride, which costs you some time, but it means that roll top in the lake, she's jumped perfectly square and got a perfect spot to it too. And we can hear this one, got a big deep breath on him as he comes past and jumps the Pride's wagon. Big leap, got plenty of scope.
Yeah, and Chris, we have another starter out on course. This is Asher Warnock aboard Lane End Bond. So Asher's currently sitting on a score of 41 and in a very handy third position. So she's clear over the first 3 fences and looks to be clear through the Stockman's Hut and heading out towards the Bendigo Bank.
Yeah, she had a great jump through the AE Equestrian and Farming Products Stockman's Hut. Now approaching that Bendigo Bank, the 2 efforts required over the narrow fence at the front, over the bank and then over the arrowhead at the back there. She's quick through there and coming to that big turning fence. On these courses, there's often a nice big turning fence that brings you back to another section of the course as they swap out of the start of the track and come down into this lake complex. If you're still up on the hill, it's worth getting down here and having a close look at some of these jumps and how big they are and how tough this course is down here. It's a really busy part of the course as we see Asher Warnock riding Lane End Bond, currently in third, coming into the Horseland Bridge. As the whistles go off, big jump off there, beautiful landing, no pecking there for this combination. First time into the lake for them. Horse sees the water for the first time, doesn't know it's there. Remember, these horses have never schooled this. They don't know what's coming up. This is the first time they've seen it. And she'll be so pleased with that. That was just beautiful, effortless, and coming up now for these section of 3 brushes, 3 big brush fences in a row. The Platters and Moor, Delhi Brush Oxer, and then the curved brushes. She's beautifully over the first element, coming to the curves now. She's got plenty of pace on now. She wasn't going too fast before, but this hill is really getting her going down there. Been quite straight there too, so she's almost cut out 2 strides compared to what some of the combinations we've seen go through there by almost doing that straight.
And just as she's heading up towards the Horseland Lake, I do have an interesting score to hand, Chris. Hayley Freilich and Jundin Blackwatch. They did a magnificent round, jumping clear and just picking up 5.2 time faults. So a very quick round for Hayley. Meanwhile, coming into view, we have Hannah, Klepp and Reprieve. They've been jumping well so far. Really lovely airy jump over the Pride's Easy Feed wagon and really straight through those brushes. Also, can we have a Another call out to all one-star riders. If you are competing in the one-star class, can you please head over to the show jumping or let them know if you are taking no further part in the competition. So that's all one-star riders. You need to please go and show jump.
And just an update on Asher Warnock riding Lane End Bond. They went through the Horseland Lake absolutely beautifully. Kind ride, really amazing amount of power this horse had. All Asher had to do was see a spot in the lake there, put a tiny bit of leg on. The horse responded for her beautifully and got to a beautiful spot, popped over that roll top oxer in the middle of the lake where we've seen some horses hardly even make the back of it. Jumped it beautifully. Her horse came into the prize easy feed wagon, had a real stare. As I look at this fence now, I think it might be the fake horse on the front of the wagon, which is really putting some of these horses off. They're looking at it, wondering if it's going to move or wondering if it's not going to move. And had a set, still got over it, no problems at all, and continued on. And from what I can tell, continuing on clear around the course.
Yeah, and at the start of their course, we have the combination to keep an eye on, the very busy Sam Jeffries aboard Woodmount Lolita. So Sam's our current overnight leader, currently sitting on 35.8 with just 3.2 points to hand. Oh, sorry, 3.4 to hand. So Sam and Woodmount Lolita, our current leaders.
Yeah, and in Sam's style, he's in that 2-point position and he is absolutely flying. Beautiful jump through the lake already, cuts a stride out between the oxer and the B element on the way out of the water. First person we've seen to do that. So Sam, again, another rider that has a reputation for being really, really quick, but also has a reputation for being exceptionally efficient. Just watch him if you're watching and you're learning. How, he's just so still. He hardly moves. He stays in that 2-point position. He's really efficient. And the horses underneath him just change. They just shorten their stride up. They respond. He gets such a good ride out of these horses. And he's showing all his talent here because this one is going quick, Beck. He knows that this time is tight and he is moving fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sam's known to be pretty quick cross-country. Meanwhile, we've just seen Asher Warnock and Lane End Bond coming out through the trees and over the Pride's easy feed wagon. He did have a bit of a look and she did give him a little bit of encouragement on the shoulder to keep him going, but he did a lovely big airy leap over that table and made light work of that combination. So just 3 fences to go for Asher Warnock and Lane End Bond.
Meanwhile, Sam Jeffries riding Woodmount Lolita continues on beautifully, as we were commentating a little bit earlier. His horse also had a bit of a stare at the fake horse on front of the Pride's Easy Feed wagon at fence 13. We can just see him now popping down through that triple combination of the Broadway Park rolling hills. Got a little bit deep to the first one, was a bit ugly there, was a bit of an uncomfortable spot when you get that deep to a downhill fence. But very quickly kept on this stride, kept moving and rolled on down to the 2 angled fences as well.
Yeah, so we have another starter out on course. This time it's Penelope Johnson aboard BB Boom. So Penelope's currently sitting in 13th position on a score of 67.2. So she's safely over the first 3 fences in this CCI 4-star class.
Yeah, Penny's just approaching the AE Equestrian and Farming Product Stockman's Hut over both the elements there. 2 jumping efforts required. They are quite large, and the first one's actually underneath the Stockman's Hut itself. So you're actually inside for a little bit there. Next for her is Bank. Just come up with a nice canter there. 2 efforts required here as well. Both skinny fences, only just wider than the horse itself. So it requires plenty of training because the fastest route and the easiest route for the horses to go around, so they have to be super accurate. And that's what we see there from BB Boom, ridden by Penny Johnson. She's at that winning fence now at the angled brush, and then we're expecting her to come down to the Horseland Bridge in a moment.
And Chris, we have some results for those earlier competitors. We have Hannah Klepp and Reprieve. So no jump penalties for that combination, but picking up 28.4 time faults. And Asher Warnock and the lovely Lane End Bond also jumping clear, picking up 18.8 time penalties. So just coming into view, Sam Jeffries and our overnight leader, Woodmount Lolita. So cantering down the hill and jumping beautifully through that tough combination here at the Pride's Easy Feed Wagon and Brush Tractors.
And at the same time, we see the familiar sights of Penny Johnson and BB Boom riding beautifully through the lake. Penny's not in a rush today. She's just having a nice canter going across the country. We certainly know that she's got a turn of speed that can be more than this. There's a lot going on in this part of the course as she turns now to the Platters and Moor Delhi Brush. Massive leap over that, and this big chestnut horse. We'll see how she goes over these curved brushes. You know, these jumps which are narrow and curved, encouraging the horse to run down the hill, yet the second brush is actually up the hill. So horses that are really old and big, it's a huge amount of effort to keep them on course. Penny's done a beautiful job of that. We're seeing her now coming down for the second time to the Horseland Lake at fence 11 and 12. The first effort, not a tough fence as a fence by itself. The jump there, very easy for these horses. But the ground drops away and you've got the lake in the background. And you've also got the next fence coming up, which is a massive roll top in the middle of the lake. And Penny's given it plenty of respect. She's taken the curved line, turned left a little bit, and then swung back to the right to make sure that she jumped that jump nice and square. Next for her, she's got this first of the Pride's Easy Feed Wagons. BB Boom taking a bit of a look at that fake horse as well. Penny saw a nice spot there, just smoothly and approaching that jump. As I said, not with a huge amount of pace on, but very kind jump over there and being really efficient.
Some important scores to hand, Chris. We have our overnight leader, Lolita, with Sam Jeffrey aboard. Lovely clear round and a super speedy 5.6 time fault. So provisionally we would say he's holding on to his lead in this CCI 4-star class. Meanwhile, in the early parts of the course, we have Sophie Fox aboard Mr. Pig. Sophie's currently in 11th position on a score of 52.2. And it looks like she's heading down towards the Horseland Bridge.
Yeah, she is, and she's wasting any time at all. Really quickly down to the bridge there. One of the fastest riders we've seen ride down the hill there. She's got this Horseland Lake the first time, so she's going to pop into the water, and then she's got about 10 strides through the water before jumping a roll top. She's got a lovely spot to that. And now, as a consequence of that, she's also popped over it beautifully, and also par over the B element as well. And this one she is going quick. This is Sophie Fox riding Mr. Pig in 11th place on a score of 52.2. That's not far off the pace on this course. So with a quick time, she can move right up into those top placings, if not even come up into first, I think, Becky, as she turns now to the curved brushes. We'll see if that pace catches her out. No, she's gone quite narrow, quite direct. So this horse is really on song today. You can clearly see him clearly focused. He's got the Horseland Lake for the second time. So they're coming back here again. They have to do it twice, this 4-star class. Oh, she's really having to sit up, put the brakes on. She's got a lot more pace than we've seen anyone else come around here. She has elected to turn out to the left and then come back to the right, though. So she's added a stride to make sure that she jumps that jump square, and she did it absolutely beautiful. And I don't think she's wasted a second. Another horse which is really drifting to the left as she jumps that Pride's feed wagon. I'm sure they're just staring at that white fake horse on the front. It's very funny to see these really experienced horses to be doing that. But she's going really quick. Meanwhile, just coming through the hotel now is Penny Johnson. Should be coming into your view now, Becky.
Yeah, this is Penny Johnson aboard BB Boom. So, as you said earlier, Chris, she looks to be going considerably slower than some of the other riders, but just setting up for this great big table. He takes a bit of a long spot, but that's no problem for Boom, as he then slightly curved her line out a little bit wider than what we've seen. Hasn't been as efficient as the other riders, but no problem for her through that combination. She has given the red flag a little bump with her right leg, but once again the horse has jumped over that fence without any problems and is heading towards her last 3 fences out on course. Meanwhile, we've got Sarah Clark aboard LV Blue Jeans. Rider number 13, she's currently sitting in 4th position on a score of 42.5. So I don't believe she can't actually overtake our leader, Sam Jeffries, aboard Woodmount Lolita. He's holding his first position on a score of 41.4, but she certainly can move up from her 4th position with a good, clear, fast round.
Yeah, and we'd expect Sarah to have a pretty good, clean, fast round. She's right at the top of the first part of the course at the moment. She's jumped over the angled brush at fence 6 and coming into this middle part of the course, the Horseland Bridge. We saw one of the riders in the earlier section take the option here. We haven't seen any of the 4-star horses have any problems with this bridge so far. All their experience. She's having a nice candidate off that Horseland Bridge. Doesn't look to be going super quick. Can be deceptive with some of these horses sometimes, though. You think they're not going that quick, and then you find out later they've gone clear for time.
Yeah, and we've just seen Soapy Fox and the lovely Mr. Pig jumping through the Wallace Equine Brush tractors here up in front of the woolshed. He's still full of running, and she did have to work a little bit to bring him back, but no troubles for Sophie Fox, who seems to be having a great ride on Mr. Pig.
Yeah, Sarah Clark, meanwhile, is over the Platters and Moor Delhi Brush Oxer. It's a big fence. It's got a back element to it as well, so it really flies the horses out over that downhill before. You've really got to check them up and get them under control for these curved brushes. She's done that really well. And really had to keep the brakes on those so that this horse didn't get away with her. He's inclined just to put his head down a little bit and say, come on, let's go, I want to be going. He's not having any trouble there, and Sarah's got enough experience just to keep this really big black horse on the job. She's also turned out to the left a little bit, elected to add, and almost added 2 strides down that line there in the Horseland Lake. He's really keen. Beautiful, stunning horse to look at as we see these come up. Another horse, this is Sarah's horse, running Blue Jeans. He is not happy about that fake horse on the front at all. So if you think about these horses with all their experience, yet something as simple as a statue of a horse on the front can absolutely freak these guys out, and that's what's happened here, unfortunately. Absolutely amazing that Blue Jeans he is really, really anxious about this fake horse. You think they're so brave. It's just amazing. These horses are so brave. They can go through the lake, they can go through the quarry, they can jump massive ditches and brushes, and yet you put a fake horse on the front of a jump and it's so distracting they can't do it. So we'll see how she goes on this second time approaching. Oh my God, that's hard work. Sarah Clark has used every bit of talent she's got to get that horse confident, brave enough to do it, and then popped over the oxer. So she'll be upset and disappointed about that, but these horses are really, really alert, and they see things like this, and a fake white horse on the front is something that they've certainly noticed, and that really put her off.
It is interesting, Chris, that fence has been in a different position on course, and I don't ever recall the horses looking at it like they are this weekend when it's stuck in the middle of the paddock. Meanwhile, a couple of very important scores to hand. We have Penelope Johnson and BB Boom, so no jump penalties for them. They did travel a little bit slower than we've seen, and they picked up 44.4 time faults. Meanwhile, Sophie Fox and Mr. Pig zoomed around, picking up just 1.2 time.
Just in front of us is Courtney Fraser riding Rocking It. She's got a really long spot in the Horseland Lake, the first roll top. Not that that's a problem, she just sat back and rode it and kept on going and realised that if you get a long spot and you land a bit heavier afterwards, that combination to the B element's going to be long. So she really put her leg on to get up to that and make that distance work. That's where the talent of these riders come in. You know, you've got to make sure that these combinations and the distances work. And she was really, really quick to respond when she got out the back door a little bit over that Horseland Oxer. She's now coming and already over the Platters and Moor Delhi Brush Oxer. She's had a big leap over the first of the curved brushes, and that's the first one that's been caught out by. So their horse just massive, massive leap over the first of the curved the curved brushes. And the consequence of that is it just ran her down the hill, and it was impossible to get back for that B element. That is the test of that jump, to make sure that you don't do that, and she's been caught out. It's one of those real technical questions that Ewan Keller, the course designer here, is set for these combinations. And she just didn't quite have it together enough, and that horse really leapt out and got himself into trouble down and just a bit too far down the hill as they approach the lake. Over that first element in the lake now. Took quite a direct line. Going nice and quiet now. So once they've picked up a penalty like that, often the riders do take their foot off the accelerator a bit. Not too much. They're still not too much. She's still got to keep moving, and she's doing that now as we see her come up to the pride's wagon. Another horse that really drifted to the left. Didn't hit the flags, but did manage to take out one of the pot plants. And that pot plant probably is not going to make it after this event because it's just had a bit of a beating there. But she's gone over it. She's managed to give it a little clip, that pot plant, and but still clear. It's not about how you look doing these jumps. It's about getting between that red and the white flag without picking up any penalties.
Yeah, and we just saw Sarah Clark and LV Blue Jeans unfortunately carrying forward those 20 penalties from fence number 13 earlier. But no trouble for them through the Wallace Equine Brush Tractors. She did give that red flag a little tap, which has been copping a little bit of a beating today, but no troubles for them through that combination, and they should be crossing the finish line shortly. Meanwhile, we have rider 16, Hamish Cargill, aboard at French Evening. He's currently sitting in 10th position on a score of 51.5, and
he's just at the lake now, popping into the water. Splash down into the water. There's water going everywhere. Beautiful spot for the roll top. Doing this in regulation, to be honest. We'll see how they go through these combination of brush fences. So the first one is a big fence. It's a big oxer, so you've got the horses jumping. The platters are more deli brush oxer, which really encourages the horses to stretch out and make them realise they're big. But then the very next jump is a very similar looking brush fence, but it's not an oxer, so we want the horses just to pop over, and he's done that, and so hasn't missed the line. And that is the test there, that curve after the big brush oxer, and it's a really tough question, and they've done it beautifully, absolutely beautifully for Hamish Cargill and French Evening. Just approaching this water jump now. It's the Horseland Lake. Sits up, just takes a bit of a soften, tries to just get him to free up his neck a little bit. Oh, beautiful spot, beautiful ride. He saw his from 4 strides out, put his leg on and rolled on down to that roll top in the middle of the lake. That was really good. This horse is keen. This horse is really keen. It's coming up to the pride's wagon. I think these last few riders are making sure their horses don't stop at this statuette of a horse. He really made sure it was on the job, focused on the oxer and not on the horse at the front of the wagon. So I think some of these later riders have the benefit of realising that that's a bit of a horse scarer, and they're staying on the job now. We see Hamish pop over the first, second, and now the third element of the Broadway Park Rolling Hills fence.
Yeah, and we've just seen Courtney Fraser aboard a Rockinet, carrying forward those 20 penalties from that tough brush fence at fence number 10. And unfortunately, it looks like she picked up a 20 at 14, fence number 14 to the Broadway Park Rolling Hills. So carrying forward 2 separate troubles on course for Courtney Fraser and rocking it. Sarah Clark and LV Blue Jeans. We saw them have a bit of trouble at that wagon, and unfortunately she picked up 40.4 time faults as he was not having a bar of it earlier in the course, but she did manage to complete her round. Meanwhile, we can see rider number 18, David Middleton, and WEC in the swing. He's back again, and hopefully he's jumping the correct fence at the AE Equestrian.
Yeah, Becky, it looks like he
Stockman's
certainly did take the right line through the Horseland, through the AE Equestrian and Farming Product Stockman's Hut. He's galloping now really quickly. He's got through the Bendigo Bank, over the angled brush, and now to the Horseland Bridge. In typical David Middleton style, he is not hanging around, so he's up on a tight line into now. What he's probably cut out 1, if not 2 strides there, and cut a stride out on the way too, and got a bit of a miss on the way out, but he's had plenty of momentum, plenty of pace on that wasn't going to slow him down at all. This horse is unbelievable behind. Its back end probably cleared the roll top in the water, that oxer. It probably cleared it by around about 2 feet. It was just amazing to see. So hopefully he's going to show jump it as well, because that's incredible talent. He buries it at the first of the curved brushes, and you might say that was a bit of a misride, but I can assure you that Dave, with his experience, has put his horse in the bottom of that fence in order to help slow it down. And as a consequence of that, he just popped over and it made him get a beautiful line on those curved brushes, and the horse slowed itself down. It was quality riding there. He comes down already back to the Horseland Lake again. And again, straight, does it on a massive angle. Absolutely massive angle. He's riding like a treak now. Dave made an error on that, an error of rider on that first horse, and he is out for some sort of revenge. Oh my God, and he got another deep spot at fence 13, the Pride's Wagon feeder. We've seen a couple of horses run out at the white statuette horse. He got quite deep there, and again we got the pleasure of seeing the back end on this horse. It was, again, cleared the fence by at least 2 feet. So spectacular to watch, this combination.
Yeah, Chris, and while we were watching Dave do those massive leaps down there, we saw Hamish, Cargill and French Evening coming through the Wallace Equine Brush tractors. He did a lovely leap over the table, and then his horse did get a little distracted and pop back to a trot for one of those narrow brushes. I wasn't quite sure if he was going to still commit to his line, but he did, and he managed to put in the 2 strides and clear that fence. So a little bit of a heart stopper there for a moment for Hamish, Cargill and French Evening, but he's managed to jump around clear with 11.2 time. So it looks like David Middleton, I think, is our final rider in this CCI 4-star class, having a great run clear up to fence number 15 in this Horseland CCI 4-star class.
So as we see the last of the riders in the 4-star class, many of the spectators are wandering up from the bottom of the hill. Just be super careful and make sure you're still, as David Middleton riding Warragul Equestrian Centres in the swing. He'll be in sight here in a moment, so make sure you're not moving around and give him plenty of space as he comes through. We're expecting him very soon to be at the Pride's Easy Feed Hotel, then the Horseland Saddle Rack and the Wallace Equine Brush tractors just in front of the spectator position.
Yeah, we want to encourage the spectators to hang around, because as soon as Dave has crossed that finish line, we will be having the world famous 7-Eleven Shetland Grand National race out here on the hill. So please stick around and watch the wonderful entertainment with the Shetland Grand National race.
And we can see In the Money coming into sight now beautifully through the hotel. That's the Pride's Easy Feed Hotel. Coming up to the Horseland Saddle Rack. It's a great fence because it's just so big. Dave sees a spot from a long way out. This horse is still keen. Look at it, it's really eager to get going. Pops over the first, pops over the second. Channeling all that energy and that focus as he comes down. He's just got those couple of fences to go. That Chandon bottle, super impressive up on the top of the hill there. Jumping through that champagne bottle. And he's just got those 2 fences to go, the Equisage Manor and the Isuzu Arch.
Yeah, and while we wait for Dave to complete his last couple of fences on this course, there is a call out to all the 1-star off-the-track riders. There is a course walk for your show jumping. So if you are in the 1-star off-the-track class, can you please head over to the show jumping course if you would like to walk it as quickly as possible. So just watching on the live stream, we can see Dave safely over the second last fence, the Equisage Manor at fence number 21. So, and the Isuzu Arch. So Dave Middleton and WEC in the swing safely over his final fence at the Isuzu Arch and picking up 12.4 time penalties. So another quick round for Dave. So the provisional results as they stand leaves us with our winner, Sam Jeffries, aboard Woodmount Lolita, with Sophie Fox and Mr. Pig in second position. Hayley Freilich and Wandin Black Watch in third position, with David Middleton and WEC in the swing sitting in fourth.
30 years in business, Pride's Easy Feed continues to stand as a proud Australian family equine dedicated feed company. Based on the Liverpool Plains, Pride's is the only facility of its type producing extruded cubes, extruded sweet feeds and pellets on 3 separate production lines. We would like to wish our Pride-sponsored riders the best of luck for the event ahead. And be sure to pop over to the Pride's marquee to see our range of feeds and ask any questions that you might have with getting the right diet for your horse.
It might not be obvious while you're enjoying your horse's racing career, but it's never too early to consider their retirement plan. Whether it's resetting horses for a second career, sponsoring equestrian events, or supporting our acknowledged retrainer network, Racing Victoria's Off the Track team can help. Visit the Off the Track community to start planning your horse's second career.
Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines, horse sales and in racing animals. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat, with ingredients all selected for their ability to improve skin and coat condition. Add Livermol Feed Optimizer pellets for horse health, growth and performance, and the Livermol grooming range to stand out from the crowd. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information. Leading horse exhibitors, breeders and trainers rely on Livermol to deliver unrivaled results across all equine disciplines. Livermol is the essential ingredient for that perfect coat. See your local feed stockist or our website for more information.
Come on! Out. Gillum Jones is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson? Tracks all the way back in. It does. And he's locked in. What a goal!